Kwakwadah Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest out there. Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, Women Cannot Make Decisions. That's why her father has to decide for her. What I mean by that is he has to make the choice as to what man she's going to be with. So this is a video I came across. I caught the title, so I said, let me click on it. I subscribe to this individual. Anyway, this is Tracy Ellis Ross, which is Diana Ross' daughter. She's an actress. She's famous for playing in the TV sitcom Girlfriends, similar to Friends, and also like Sex and the City, for the sisters, so to speak. So it says, I dreamed, and by the way, she's on Michelle Obama's podcast. I dreamed of a wedding. Now I'm 52 and alone. So this brother right here is, putting his 2 cents in, and he goes to her page. Doesn't say what page. It doesn't say whether it's OnlyFans or whatever. But there's various. Okay, I'm at 4:30, right? Okay, here's some more pictures. She's working out. She got the the different selfies going on. So he stopped right here, and obviously he blocked it out. If this wasn't here, you would see her breasts, and you would see her private. It makes me think of Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16 on down. I shall discover thy secrets. Now, I don't know if her father's an Edomite, because Diana Ross was in the Edomite men, but some of those European men were probably Jake's. And I believe she got one son or daughter that's a Jake through Barry Gordy, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me. Go to Google. But and there was a point where Diana Ross had a whole bunch of different husbands, and they were all European. But anyway, she's talking about she's lonely and she's 52. Well, at this age, you don't put out pictures of yourself. I mean, do you really think a man looks at this and says, I want to marry, I want to have kids with this woman, I want to spend the rest of my life with her? No, you're thinking about you want to have sex with her, and that's about it. She'll be like a side chick. I mean, this is a stupid decision. For you to say that you are 52 and alone, and you had a dream of a wedding. Men are not going to look at you in a respectful manner. You wasn't thinking at all. That's why the title has to do with women are not good decision makers. That's why the father has to make decisions for you, especially when it comes to our marriage. And I did a video early in the week, maybe Monday. Do so many videos. Some days I'll do 3, 4, 5 videos. But one recent video I did, I went into the law in Exodus chapter 21, where it speaks of an Israelite man selling his daughter off to another Israelite man, and that man could either make her a servant for life till she dies, even if he has a male servant that falls in love with that woman and has children. After the 7th year, he's released. The man is released. The Israelite man is released, but the woman has to stay. But he loves his woman. He has children with the woman. So he wants to stay with the woman. He can't bring the woman and the children. The children, whether they be sons and daughters, they are up under him, under the master, which is an Israelite. Or he can say, I will be a slave unto you, a servant unto you forever. Put the all in the air And you'll say, I love my master. In reality, you love your wife and your children. So that's a benefit to the man that has the plantation or whatever. You know, you got these Jake saying, oh, well, Seminoles can't be our people. They put us in slavery. Well, wait a minute. Israelites put other Israelites into slavery. You sold your daughters into slavery. And if the man that purchases the daughter from the father, he can decide to say she's going to be, whether she likes him or not, she can decide to say, he can decide to say, excuse me, she's going to be my woman. Then she gets what's called marital status. So she goes from being a concubine, a handmaid, to being married. In the case of Abraham, Hagar was Sarah's handmaid, so it was her servant that she gave to Abraham. And guess what? She went back to being a servant under, not Abraham, but under Sarah. So in the kingdom, your women are going to have servants and cooks and slaves under them. Your children, they're going to be blessed. They're going to be gifted with, this is what you got to understand. You're going to have children that's going to be gifted with slaves from other nations. If you never had the opportunity to watch the movie, The Last Emperor of China, it's a great movie. And it shows you how rank and file works. But yeah, this is not a good look. If you plan on being married, ain't nobody gonna marry you looking like this. And if you know her, she got a caboose in the back. She got a fat ass. She's been known for having a fat ass, and a very attractive woman. You know. But this is a turn off. I mean, it's a turn on, but you don't want to marry a woman like this. You just want to have sex and you want to get it. You might have a relationship, but not you ain't gonna walk down that aisle, so to speak. So anyway, I didn't read the law, but I quoted the law, which is in Exodus chapter 21. But what I did go to, and I'm not going to make this long, but let's see where the Spirit takes me. So I typed in, give her to a wise man. And I modified it in the Apocrypha. And a bunch of precepts came up. The main one that I wanted came up. But these others came up, and I was kind of reviewing them, and I said I'm going to read some of them. Ecclesiasticus 22 verse 4, a wise daughter shall bring an inheritance to her husband. Meaning, now that goes into Proverbs 31, where it speaks of virtuous woman as a woman that has a business that brings in revenue to the household, to her husband. Like you have this term called a boss chick. Ain't no man want to deal with no boss chick. Women seem to think that they have degrees and they show a man, I got a degree in this. Because I had women that had college degrees. And that shit didn't impress me. She figured, well, I got a degree in this and degree in that, and you still a dumb bitch. And everything that you do, these women, you got women in the hood. I've been with women in the hood. I've been with the average woman, and I've been with these college-educated women. And they're psychologically fucked up in their head. You want to talk about a woman flipping, they flip. And anything that they do, when they respond to you on certain things, it's that college vernacular. Like you said, well, the white professor told you that bullshit. It says, so these college-educated women, these boss chicks, are just as boneheaded as these chicks in the hood. They all fucked up. And don't get married with them. You got to get with a chick, you get with a chick. Better to marry than to burn. That's what the Apostle Paul said. But I warn you, just as Paul said this, you shall have trouble in the flesh. But the last thing you want to do is get legally married. That's making a binding contract, which is nothing but a business contract. That's why they get half, because that's a business. A marriage license is, you got to get a license. That's a business contract. So you're a partnership. That's why everything's cut in half. You get with two men get together. They have a business idea. One guy's pushing it, the other guy's not pushing it. The one guy that's really pushing it, he said, I don't want to be in business no more, but they made $100 million. When they go to court, they started off as a partnership. They started off equal. So they're going to end equal. So you can't say, well, I did more. That has nothing to do with it. You should have been, what's the sole proprietor? Single business owner. That's why you got partnerships and you got corporations where you have the CEO, the CFO, which are chief executive officer, chief financial officer, chief, you got a lot of office. The highest office is when you make a company public. When you go from a private company to a public company, you are officer of that company, which makes you an officer of the United States. It says, a wise daughter, Ecclesiastes 22, verse 4. I'm not going to make this long. A wise daughter shall bring an inheritance to her husband. You can read Proverbs 31. But she that liveth dishonestly is her father's heaviness. There's a heaviness to her father. Because if this father gives this woman to another man and she's not what he wants him to be, it reflects on the father. He has the final say. If he says, look, you're gonna get with this man, she has no say with it. Going back to the law, Exodus 21, if that Hebrew man purchases a daughter of another Israelite man, he can also decide to say, this woman is going to be for my son. So you already had a woman. They showed you that in the movie Coming to America, the first one, where the woman was trained from childhood to serve her man. And then what did the main character want to do? What was his name? Akeem. He went to Queens, and he got a hood rat chick. Anyway, Ecclesiastes 25, verse 26. And now you can, the 25th chapter, you can just read the whole chapter. 26th chapter as well. If she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. Cut her off. Now Yahushua said, despite what the law was given to Moses, he said the only way you can cut her off is by, if she gives you trouble, you got to deal with it. The Apostle Paul said that. Mind you, you're going to have trouble in the flesh. So in this, the time that we're living in, you got sisters that get into Israel like as an organization. They don't get into it because they woke up to the fact that they're Israel. That's why when they get out of Israel, I used to be an Israelite. I ain't an Israelite. No. Well, if you really understood this thing, you would understand that you were always an Israelite. You just are no longer part of that group. It's not like the Nation of Islam, the NOI. It's not like being a Christian. Well, I used to be a Christian, now I'm an atheist. You're an Israelite no matter what happens. Which proves that you people that come in here, you don't know what you're involved in. It says, if she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce. and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. Ecclesiasticus 18 and 28. Let's see what that says. Every man of understanding know of wisdom, and will give praise unto him that found her. Yes, wisdom is understanding is feminine spirit. Wisdom is the feminine spirit. When King Solomon wrote his Songs of Solomon, he was playing the role of a man with a woman, and he was playing the role of a woman with a man. The man represented the Most High. And if you sing the role of a man, his spouse would be wisdom. So it has nothing to do with a Shulamite woman. This is why we don't deal with these Christians. Okay. Ecclesiasticus 7 verse 19. Forgo not a wise and good woman, for her grace is above gold. An ounce of gold is the highest it's ever reached in history is 3,300, and at one point it was I think it was the highest was 3,333, 3,334. And you have gold experts that said it's going to go further than that. Give me a second. Okay, it says here, Ecclesiasticus 1 verse 6, to whom hath the root of wisdom, which is a feminine spirit, been revealed, or who hath known her wisdom, her wise counsel. Wisdom is a nurturing spirit, right? Ecclesiasticus 40 verse 29. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for life, for he polluteth himself with other men's meat, but a wise man shall well nurtured will beware thereof. I don't know if I passed it already. And I just read it. What's in the scripture is a weightier matter. I just read it before I proofread it. Here we go. We just passed it. Maybe I read it and didn't realize it. Okay, I did pass it. Ecclesiastes 7 verse 25. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter. Because you had to consider the man that you're going to give your daughter to. But give her to a man of understanding. So at the end of the day, these women are all messed up. 6 kids with 5 fathers. And she expects a man to come in her life, and him being coming in on a white horse, Prince Charming. And ain't no man gonna get. You might have a man that the woman might have one child by one dude, right? The dude might have died or whatever the case may be. But she got a life together. You can see that. But I'm gonna tell you something. Ain't no man with a head screwed on his shoulders the correct way. He's not gonna get with a woman in the hood living in the projects with 6 kids from 5 different fathers. Got his light-skinned kid. You got Moabite-looking kid. They show you that in the movie, Don't Drink Your Juice in the Hood. And that was the truth. And in the movie, they kept saying, message. Ain't no wise man going to get with a woman that got a whole bunch of children by different men. And she's in the motherfucking hood. And you about something. So the bottom line, this chick, she gonna die lonely. She gonna have different men pop her, have a relationship with her. She wanna settle down, get married. He might not want to get married. This is the stupidest thing that this chick did. In other words, she had a right between her legs showing. She had her breast showing. Like somehow this is gonna hook you a real man, a real decent, honorable man. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom on to the next.